I got some interesting feedback for my mispronunciation of the word Spencerian or Spencerian, depending on the pronunciation you hear out there. And this wasn't the only piece of feedback. I got plenty of feedback. And it all just got me thinking about maybe my life was a little bit empty. Because who in the heck wants to walk around all day saying, Spencerian, Spencerian, hey, Spencerian, nice to meet you, Spencerian. So I popped over to Merriam-Webster's to hear the proper pronunciation.
Spencerian, Spencerian, Spencerian.
Wait, what? Is he saying Spencerian? Not Spencerian, but Spencerian? Spencerian. Certainly not Spencerian. Spencerian.
Jimmy, I'm afraid you're spelling that all wrong.
Spencerian.
Say, Maggie, how do you write Spencerian proper?
Spencerian.
And yet it gets me thinking, is there a regional dialect difference here? Could you say Spencerian versus
Spencerian?
Or Spencerian? If I lived down south, could I say,
sometimes we use a special type of writing called Spencerian.
I must use the Spencerian writing? Well, sometimes I'll use Spencerian writing to write me mum letters.
My name is Maximus Decimus Spencerius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius Spencerian.
Hypothetically, though, what if there was a lesser-known word? Eureka, Spencerian, an adjective of or relating to butchered pronunciations by mild-mannered watercolorists. I knew there had to be a reason that I was butchering and mispronouncing this classic word related to slanted handwriting. So let's listen to the pronunciation, the proper pronunciation.
Spencerian, Spencerian, Spencerian.
Finally, the empty void in my life was starting to make sense. The universe was coming into alignment, and I understood now where I fit in the greater scheme of things. Spencerian. I'm a Spencerian. At this point, the possibilities seemed pretty endless. I could just invent words and mispronounce them because I'm a Spencerian. And I feel like every Spencerian should have the right to invent or mispronounce their own crazy words. I really think I'm onto something here. So a mild-mannered, maybe an elderly watercolorist, that's a Spencerian.
Why, back in my day, we'd never dream of using anything other than Spencerian. Ah, Spencerian, where are you? I miss you so, Spencerian. I long for you, my sweet, sweet Spencerian.
Well, all kidding aside, there really is such a thing as Spencerian writing, and it's something I've been interested in for a while. Sorry again for my bad pronunciation of the word Spencerian or Spencerian. Hey, Spencerian. That sounds pretty cool. But anyway, this form of slanted handwriting has been in use for quite some time, and I really love watching people who can do Spencerian writing very well, so I'm looking forward to learning more about it. So the very last video I released on the channel was all about my search for the best fountain pen, and that meant the best fountain pen for me, something that I could do calligraphy and maybe Spencerian writing and some other things, maybe a little sketching with. Well, a couple of things I did in that video seemed to really get the ire up in the fountain pen community and get a lot of attention from folks who are fountain pen aficionados. Let's take a quick ride in the Wayback Machine to find out what might have sparked such controversy.
Quickly, quickly, Igor. Fetch me that last bottle of the most deadly, horrendous, terrible ink. Its black inkiness shall fill this fountain pen until it is covered in black inkiness. Yes, yes, that one, Igor. Bring it to me quickly.
Yes, master. Yes, master. Fill the pen with the stinkiest possible ink. Fill it up, master. Fill it up with the stinky, inky, stinky ink.
Yes, Igor. Yes, Igor. I think we've achieved the consistency and viscosity of motor oil.
And people had every right to be cranky at what they had seen. I thought in the back of my mind, that I knew this at one time, but had forgotten it maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, the comments were flooded with people who were saying, hey, you're messed up there. And so, yes, while it was definitely a bonehead move and embarrassing to do it and put the wrong ink in the wrong pen, I was sure happy that people spoke up and educated me. Some comments were, I'd say kinder than others, but just the same, I think people's hearts were in the right place by letting me know. So then there was the Lamy Safari pen, which many people expressed dismay at me for what they perceived as a problem there. And I think I've got an explanation for this. I'd like to run it by you and see what you think. When I was making notes about the pens I was testing, I put down that I used this Higgins ink, but I did not in fact use that Higgins ink in this pen, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So here's what happened. I had inadvertently noted that I had filled that Lamy Safari with Higgins Black Magic waterproof ink, when in fact I hadn't done that. I'd actually filled this cheap pen that Fountain Pen Revolution sent me as a gift. I'd filled that with P.H. Martin's ink. And the way I figured that out was I went and looked at the Lamy Safari pen after everybody let me know what I had done wrong, and here's what I found. So as soon as I saw the feedback in the comments section of the original video, I went and grabbed the Lamy pen. I pulled it open just to make sure I saw what kind of ink I put in it, and lo and behold, I found a Lamy cartridge. Since this is a sealed cartridge that you can't put ink into, I had the right ink in the right pen the whole time. I just didn't realize it and noted it incorrectly in my log. So where does that leave us with this pen? Well, I've got to fix it because it's scratchy, or try to make an attempt at it at least. So I'll do that here soon. But first I had to deal with the Jinhao pen, which I actually did incorrectly ink this pen. I made a big mistake. People in the comments, the fountain pen community and folks out there were mortified by the fact that I had put that ink in this pen, and most of them said that I had ruined the pen, and I understand that sentiment exactly. So I needed to deal with this pen. So what I did was I took it apart, cleaned everything, re-cleaned everything. Took me about 45 minutes or an hour, and then using this piston filler, I refilled this pen with Irajuzuku Yamaguri ink to keep things consistent. So just a note here that I ran the ink through and then re-inked it once again just to make sure everything was normal and working the way it should. So with the Jinhao working the way it should, the next project here was this very inexpensive Fountain Pen Revolution complimentary pen they sent me when I ordered the Himalayas. The big question was, could I get this thing working after it had been sitting for a few days? Let's see what we can do about salvaging this pen. So I'll save this paper towel for a Rorschach test. Here's the ink. This is the ink that you're not supposed to use in this pen. The feed that I'm really worried about, and this is definitely a plastic feed, not an ebonite. So, or at least I don't think it's an ebonite feed. Looks plastic. I wonder if soaking this out. Just trying to get these threads cleaned up. It's starting to come a little bit cleaner. I don't know why it won't come apart, but it just won't. I wish that nib came right out. I think maybe the key is just to let that soak for a bit and come back and check on it after it's soaked for a while. Hard to believe it's salvageable, but you can kind of see the flecks in there, the little flecks where the ink dried, and now it's just coming out in little dried flakes. Well, it's been in there quite a while, so let's try this. I'm gonna Managed to get the nib out. Aha. It's managed to pull the feed loose now. And now I can start to clean out the rest of this pen. A lot of ink soaked into that feed. Set that. But a lot of stuff came out of that. I wish I had like my breeding cleaner. Like times I've seen that on different channels for cleaning pieces of metal. All right, we'll come back when that's done soaking for a while. Meow. 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 Okay, it's had a chance to soak for a while, and you can see the water has turned kind of a muddy, smoky color, so something's working. We'll see if we can't clean this up some more. Seems like there's a little ink coming off that feed still. I don't even know how this feed works. Maybe it just soaks the ink in. And everything will have to dry thoroughly, I guess. I'm not an expert. Again, I repeat this every time I do something stupid like this, but I'm a complete fountain pen novice. Who knows what's still stuck in there? Let me get the other pieces here. Let me use a toothpick to get in there and scrape that off. I also don't want to really monkey with these threads because then I won't be able to get the pen back together. But this seems to be working. Kind of smoky water, and you can see the little specks in there. I hope you can. There's little specks of ink that have fallen off. So the wood seems to be the best at kind of taking the ink off. It's coming loose. Let me preface this by saying complete novice. But I have thought, well, if this doesn't work, right? Like if, so for instance, I can't soak the ink out of the pen or with repeated cleanings and stuff like that, get rid of all this, I thought, well, maybe I'll boil this. Well, I'm glad it didn't come to that because I don't know how that would affect the pen at all. So looks pretty clean overall. I think that's good enough for now, that one. So this has had a chance to dry, and I'm going to take it back, try to reassemble the nib and the feed and all that stuff, and then I'm going to try to ink that, and I'll film that as well, and then I'll see if we can get this pen to write. All right, so not sure what I'm doing here, but I'm going to give it a shot. There's probably some order of operation here that makes sense, but for me, I'm just going to kind of reseat this where it was before, which was right there. Nib just needs to go in the right spot, I think. Looks about right. Iro Shizuku Yamaguri ink, which I used in my other pens in the previous video. I don't have a dropper, so I kind of rigged up a bit of a funnel here, and I'm going to attempt to pour that ink into this pen. I'm only going to try to fill it about halfway. And I overfilled it. There it is, re-inked, and now we're going to test it out. And now, the moment of truth here, see if this thing writes. Here we go. Seems to be a success. It seems to be writing okay. This doesn't really have a flexible nib. It's just a cheap pen, but not even any skipping. This is the other pen that I can't figure out, this Lamy here. I think this cartridge just came with the pen. So what I'm going to do is try to take apart this pen, this Lamy Safari, and see if I can fix it. All right, it's time to see if we can salvage this Lamy. There's no other ink in here. There's no India ink or anything like that. That is absolutely a black Lamy cartridge. Now I have a green Lamy cartridge that's exactly the same that fits this pen. It needs to dry, and then I'll run that other ink through it and we'll see where we get. Okay, so it's had a chance to dry. I'm going to try this the green ink in it. Hopefully we'll get better results than we did with this black Lamy cartridge. And I'll just write here. Well, the ink is definitely flowing better, which is a good sign. I can't get any flex in this nib, but that's okay. It's not really a flex nib in it. So, well, I don't know if cleaning it or the ink made a difference or what the big difference is here, but this pen is performing much better than it was with the black ink that was in it, and that black ink was Lamy. Black, red, and blue, and the black cartridge that was in there, you can see there's a couple missing. I tried a couple different ones. That, whatever was going on there with the scratchiness of the Lamy, let me go back there. Get to that. That skipping and the scratchiness in the Lamy, that was very pronounced with the black ink. So geez, I don't know, maybe cleaning it helped. Not entirely sure 100%, but that definitely is kind of a surprise to me. So, and it's a surprise to see it writing well now. I'm glad that it is. It's very good that it is. I'm happy about that. Just perplexed about the ink. So I found these look like maybe they're piston fillers, but I wonder if they'll fit if they fit this Lamy. It says Germany. Oh, they say Lamy. Fantastic. So I found these in a mix of stuff, and I'm going to try this out. So I think I'll take this Lamy that I just inked up with the green cartridge. I'm going to try some Iroshizuku Yamaguri ink like I have in the other pens, and then we'll see if that makes a difference or not. I don't think you can use that once you've punctured the seal. Look at all that green. It's like the Emerald City. All right, I think we have a dry pen and feed and all that stuff, so it's time to try to ink this up with... Okay, I hope you can see it moving in there. So I'll get it all the way down and then... All right, so I got ink into that. It's got some slots in there that it feeds into so you know what direction it's going in. And I'm just going to give it a few turns to push the ink through. Okay, now I see the ink's coming through. Not going to push it anymore. Okay. Well, I re-inked this Lamy, and I've got the Yamaguri ink in it, so I'm ready to give this a shot and see how well this works. you can hear a little bit of scratchiness, but it doesn't feel that way when I write. Well, so far it's working really well. I love the Hiroshizuku ink. It's really forgiving and it goes down smooth. But this pen is really actually working out quite a bit better than it had originally. And I'm really impressed. I had a little water on the page there. That's not the pen's fault. So I just want to run a bit of this ink through the pen, you know, through the nib and the feed. Okay, this pen is working great now, so I have to take back all of the bad things I said about the Lamy Safari pen. Must have been user error, so now I get to eat my words. Yum, 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 yum. Thanks for stopping by to catch this video. This has been Marty for owingsart.com.